What up everyone, it's your man XMen87 here, bringing you another Marvel Legends and Mafex news video. And what I have for you today is some X-Men goodness. Hasbro revealed the X-Men 97 Morph figure for their Marvel Legends line, and Mafex revealed Iceman for their X-Men series. Also not X-Men related, but we'll talk about the Mafex Punisher too. Before we get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up, like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, let's talk about it. Alright, early this morning, Hasbro revealed their Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Morph. And here he is with all the accessories laid out here, so we'll start with that. I see a lot of people complaining about the way this figure is built because it looks too slim and too cartoony. Don't know why, because it's from a cartoon and Morph is pretty slim in the show. At least the character looks slim to me in the show, so I don't have any problem with it. But even though it's pretty cartoon accurate, I don't know if it translated well in figure form. My biggest problem comes from the very gappy crotch area. Don't know if it has dropped down hips and wasn't pushed up all the way, but it definitely has a gap problem there. This is an all new mold that we are looking at here, by the way, in case you didn't notice. Even a new jacket style along with the jacketed arms. The chest and abs do look pretty blocky, like almost a PlayStation 1 polygonal type shaped chest. But new layers, like I said, with the new jacket piece, new belt, but the buckled straps on the thighs and boots are keyed into the sculpt, excuse me. I love that they continue to do that. The face sculpt looks pretty cartoon accurate. I think the expression is pretty spot on. The accessories, I'm not a fan of the alt head here. I just don't like the way it looks. Maybe it's just because I prefer the OG cartoon looking Morph. I kind of wish they gave us the faces from the older cartoon, which runs into my biggest problem next about this figure. The alt head swap does not work at all because right above his choke collar, the skin tone is white, so it only matches the default head. Having the regular skin tone mixed with the pale white just looks straight up awful, but I'm for this Henry Gyrich head. It'll be fun to put this on a suited body, see which one works, preferably Professor X for me since he sports a green suit. Then lastly, we get new opened hands along with fist, and that's pretty much it. For me, as much as I hated the cell shading, I prefer the VHS one a lot more. That's more of my Morph when I think of Morph. I just wish they reissued that one, but with new double pinless arms and without the cell shading. Moving over to Mafex, they revealed Iceman as part of the next X-Men figure to join their X-Men series. I'm just gonna say it right away. He looks spectacular. There's not one Marvel Legends figure that ever came nowhere near as close to this, nor Marvel Selects. I've always said AOA Iceman was Legends' best Iceman, but that wasn't the classic Iceman. We needed the Iceman that fits with our 90s team. This is the Iceman. Just look at this, man. Whatever they did with the coloring on the translucent plastic is perfection to me. I don't know how to even begin to describe it. I want to say it's almost like a translucent pearlescent blue with some white clear bits. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's almost crystallized. Yep, there you go. That's it. That's pretty much the best word I can use to describe it. It's a crystallized diamond. Almost, like Crystar vibes it's giving me, is the best way to put it. I'm just going to go with describing it as a crystallized diamond because it has those sharp, blocky, fragmented sections all throughout the body. Yeah, like I said, it reminds me of Crystar. Now, this makes me wonder if Marvel Legends will approach their new Iceman with that style they made for Crystar. You know, I'm sorry to bring Marvel Legends into a Mafex conversation, but it's always, we always have that curiosity of which brand is going to do who and what first and who's going to do it better, yada, 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 without being all tribalistic about it. There's just a lot of criterion that goes into this when talking about a franchise that has licensed their IP to multiple companies. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I always said that Iceman should be in a light blue with white paint or overspray to highlight the muscles. I was getting tired of the translucent looks, but this is perfect and it works. If any company wants to tackle Iceman with that translucent look, then this is how it should be done. The trunks are a separate layer, but it's got a nice shade of color that blends in with the figure, so Mafex did a really good job here making it match. He even has the boot line sculpted around his calves, so that's pretty dope. Everything is perfect about the figure except the feet. They're super tiny. Yo, bro got them Rob Liefeld feet. I don't know how this figure is standing. Man, yeah, that's the only thing that looks bad. The one major flaw of this figure are those feet. On to accessories now. He's got 3 different head sculpts. The default head, one with a grin, which is cool to show some emotion. And lastly, the flat top hairstyle, but it has the same expression as the default head. All of these are good, but I wished he had a yelling expression for one of his alt heads. Then he has opened hands with some circular ice blast effects. That's super dope, and we don't have a lot for ice effects for accessories on ice type characters in general in figure form, so I appreciate this. And we even get a pair of ice beam effects, which I always felt was imperative for an Iceman figure to always have. But best of all, and the most crucial accessory for him to have, is his ice slide. It's not a super big extended ice slide like we all want, but damn it, this gets the job done. And finally, we have the best comic accurate ice slide for an Iceman figure to date. You can connect the flight stand to it so he can stay balanced, as I doubt there are any peg holes underneath those tiny feet of his. If there was, he'd have no feet. They did a great job with the sculpt on the ice slide. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of dynamic ways to pose him on it with that flight stand, and that's very exciting. I'm loving this. I don't know what Marvel Legends have planned for their Iceman, and I'm not going to say they can't top this, and I'm not going to rule them out, because in all fairness, I can't judge what I can't see. So I'll wait until Hasbro reveals theirs, but they do have their work cut out for them as of right now. Because as of right now, this is the best Iceman we've ever seen in figure form. I would like to see a depowered Bobby Drake one of these days, whether it's from Mafex or Marvel Legends. I have a feeling that Marvel Legends would do the classic X-Factor costume to coincide with some of the other classic X-Factor figures they put out this year, if I had to guess. I mean, I could see Mafex doing it too. Either way, this is a bona fide day one pre-order for most. I absolutely freaking love it. Mafex Punisher, which was teased earlier this month, and now we have the full renders. They went with the Mike Zeck look from the Return to Big Nothing story. It seemed to have caused some controversy amongst the community, as the perception is the skull looks goofy and, not intimidating. Others like it because there is comic accuracy to it for this specific version. But here's my take on it. And I know I've said I'm all for comic accuracy, but when I say it, I mean that I want comic accuracy to look good in figure form. And I'm sorry, but to me, this doesn't. Just because it's comic accurate doesn't mean it's always going to look good in figure form. We've seen certain depictions of characters that didn't translate well in figure form before. I don't blame the people who say the skull looks goofy, because it looked goofy in the comic too. Some may like it, and that's cool. Not knocking you if you do. I just think personally, it's one of the worst Punisher skulls ever drawn. It doesn't look intimidating at all. Just looks like his skull is about to cry. So there's my take on that. Again, just because it's comic accurate doesn't mean it should be given a free pass from criticism. Because if it looks bad in the comics and it looks bad in figure form, then it's not going to be a good figure. But if it looks good in the comics and it looks good on the figure, then it's all good. The rest of the figure though, I can't get behind it at all. It's just proportionally bad. The shoulders are outrageously gappy, and he has some serious Peabody syndrome going on. Like, forget skipping leg day. This man skipped leg years. That back is crazy. He's all upper body. Bro's hips just disappeared. And they gave him tiny ass feet again, just like Iceman. I'm sorry, but this shit looks awful. But at least there will be a new classic Punisher on the market next year, and I'm good with my Marvel Legends War Journal 2-pack. That's my favorite Punisher figure. I'm just waiting on a Marvel Legends Maximum Series Classic Punisher. I hope they don't go the Mike Zeck route like Mafex did here. For me, John Romita Sr. or Jim Lee all the way. For accessories, he'll have a knife to store in his boot sheath. I'm relieved to see he has guns, because after the Mafex Deadpool and MCU Winter Soldier didn't have any kind of guns to go with him, I was worried and had no hope that they weren't going to give Punisher his guns. I held my breath because the teaser showed him holding guns, but the image was cut off, so in the back of my head, I was thinking, shit, they are probably going to give him laser type guns. But glad to see some realistic guns here. I don't know why they weren't able to give them guns. And when I say them, I mean Deadpool and MCU Winter Soldier. I know it was a Marvel discretion. I just didn't know to what extent, because we always see Marvel Legends include guns with theirs. Yeah, some are futuristic, stylized laser type guns, but don't forget that they also have included realistic stylized guns too on some of their figures. They mix it up depending on the characters. So I'm not going to pretend like I know what those terms were. It's just very confusing when you see what was offered between Hasbro and Mafex in terms of guns. Anyways, he has an Uzi, which looks good if I purchase this, which I won't. But if I did, I would be very worried about that trigger. That looks like it'll snap easily when trying to place the finger over it. Mafex plastic has improved, but it could still be a little on the brittle side, like my Mafex Magneto's helmet crest. It easily broke with a gentle rub. He'll have 2 pairs of different dual handguns and what looks like a Ruger Red Hawk pistol. I think that's the name. I'm sure one of you gunheads will quickly correct me, but you know, it looks like a Cougar Magnum with a scope. So no rifles though that I have seen from the promo images. I don't know why they didn't give him one. He needed one, I feel. Then lastly, he has 2 different heads. So his default head is a mean mugging one, and then his alt head has a smirk. So a 3rd head would have been ideal. Mafex feels more right when there's 3 heads included. This one is definitely not for me. I think this is one of my least favorite Mafex figures, and I love most of their stuff, but some of their recent stuff didn't hit for me, like this, Thor, Cap, and even their Daredevil was just way too scrawny. So some hits and some misses, but I think all their X-Men stuff have been all hits in my humbled opinion. So that's all I have for you today. This was a nice appetizer though to get us ready for San Diego Comic-Con reveals this week. Are you ready? Because I am, and I'm excited to see what will be revealed. I'll do my best to cover reveals throughout the week. I know the Marvel Legends panel is on Saturday around 3 in the afternoon Eastern Time. I'm not sure if I'll have my video up by that Saturday night because I'll have some family obligations that needs my attention, but if I don't, then for sure we'll talk about it the next day. Now I kick it back to you. What do you think of these reveals? Are you getting any of these figures that were shown today? Also, let me know, what are you most excited to see for San Diego Comic-Con? Doesn't matter which toy brand. Doesn't have to be toys either. It could be movies or video games too. It could be anything at San Diego Comic-Con. So comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. Thanks for watching another Marvel Legends and Mafex related video. Please follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at XMen87. Hit the notification bell so you always know when my latest videos are up. Share and subscribe if you're new. See you on the next video. Peace, peace.